he had typed this and then he left and then he came back. I guess because it took so long for you to notice this. Who cares at this point since Obama is... He's not an American. Okay, we know where you're coming from. I guess he was born in Kenya. God help us if Bernie gets in. Well, I certainly know where he stands. Are you idiots? Are you idiots? Every president we have ever put into office that wanted to raise taxes on the upper class has raised it on everybody. No, I guess we're really stupid, according to you. And the sheep, I guess you mean, will follow blindly. Astronomical, it will cripple our country. Well, if you're calling us idiots, I would say you should learn how to spell, but that's beside the point. Okay? I don't know you, you don't know me, but you're calling me an idiot for what I believe in. But the greatness of this country is that you could have your beliefs, and I could have mine. Okay? I am not afraid to say that I am a progressive, that I am a Democrat. Okay? What I heard from the Republicans was a lot of slurs and innuendo back and forth. For the most part, I thought the Democratic debate was one of substance, as it usually is, because they discuss issues that pertain to everybody. Personally, I don't care whether Ted Cruz is a citizen or not. He could run, as far as I'm concerned. But the bottom line is that most of the, Trump, for change, Donald Trump was pretty much in control of himself. He didn't lose his temper. There was a little joking back and forth between Cruz and him. I really think that the voice of reason, on the Republican side was Kasich and Jeb Bush. Rubio had his thing with Christie. I got plenty of things to say about Christie since he's in the adjoining state from us. He's in Jersey. Okay. What I heard from the Dems, the gentleman is saying, is that everyone wants free stuff. Well, everybody always wants free stuff, but the bottom line is it's got to be paid for, and we all know this. And paying for it, if the government isn't going to pay for it, it means that we the people, like it says in the Constitution, we're going to wind up paying for it. I guess we have to understand that if we want certain things, if we the people want certain things and certain changes, taxes will have to go up. I remember they always refer to George H.W. Bush, when he said, read my lips, no new taxes. But I was watching one of the specials, and they were talking about that. And the bottom line is, when you get into office, I'm talking about as president, when you get into office, you see that you can't make promises like that. If Hillary or Bernie, and I know they do, say that, well, it's only going to be on those people who earn $250,000, $250,000 or more. Well, I'd like to believe that's true, but I'd also like to have a head full of hair, and I know I don't have any. Okay? I believe in the Tooth Fairy, or the Easter Bunny, or Santa Claus. The bottom line is, you're going to have to pay for certain things. You want something, you got to pay for it. In that respect, I understand where the Republicans are coming from. They know that the American people want something, but they talk about the national debt being at $17 trillion, and it's just going up and up. In my whole life, I have never heard, when they talk about balanced budgets, but the bottom line is, every national debt has always been passed down from one generation to the next. Unfortunately, this national debt, our national debt, is going to be passed down to our children And you know something? Our children are going to pass it down to their children, our grandchildren, and so it goes. I see this gentleman says more government. Okay, he's for Rubio. The one thing I will say about Rubio is that if the Republicans nominate Marco Rubio, they're going to be faced with the same argument that faced the Democrats by the Republicans in '08, that he was a one-term senator, not even, and he wasn't experienced enough. Okay, all the Democrats are going to do now is turn it around and say, well, okay, you want Rubio? It's going to be the same thing that you complained about Obama. But I guarantee you one thing. If Rubio or any Republican is the 45th president of the United States, you won't hear a Democratic senator saying, my job is to make so-and-so a one-term president. Just the way Mitch McConnell did when Obama was being sworn in, he was quoted as saying his goal is to make Obama a one-term president. Well, the bottom line is, not only did the people elected him again. And that's why I say, as much as we complained about George W. Bush, the people got what they deserved because he was reelected for a second term. And you know something? If you compare his father, H.W. Bush, to George, I would rather have seen his father be president for a second term. Yeah, I know Obama won. Well, that's because Mitt Romney was trying to be somebody he wasn't. Mitt Romney was trying to pass himself off as a conservative. And let's face it, anybody who knows politics knows Mitt Romney was not a conservative. You know, Obamacare was for the most part based upon Mitt Romney's medical plan for Massachusetts. And my daughter lived in Massachusetts for a while. And everybody in Massachusetts had health insurance. It was mandated by the state. And what was it? It was Romney Care, which eventually became Obamacare. But they're still trying, the Republicans are still trying to overturn Obamacare. Okay, and they promise that if there's a Republican administration, the first thing they're all going to do is tear up Obamacare. Well, I hate to say this, but the Supreme Court passed Obamacare, said it was constitutional, and if they want to do away with Obamacare, they can't just rip it up. They need a constitutional amendment to rip it up, okay? So they can't tear it up in the first day. The only thing you can overturn as a president coming in is any executive order that the previous president has signed. You could sign a paper negating all of that and saying that I'm sorry, that's it, okay? Most of your friends, well, I have to tell you that Obamacare is the biggest pile of crap, he says. Most of your friends lost health care. Well, I have to tell you, my cohort here, Felix, lost his insurance. That's the one thing. They did not package, and the PR for Obamacare sucked because they made these promises that you can keep your doctors and your premiums won't go up. And I hate to say this, but for the most part, then I know they say that it depended upon the state you were living in. Most people I know in New York, their premiums either went up and or they couldn't keep their old doctors because their doctors just wouldn't take Obamacare. They wouldn't take their insurance anymore. When you listen to medical professionals, and I have quite a few friends who are doctors, they all hate Obamacare because they say it's done nothing but increase. It's done nothing but increase. Let me see. It's done nothing but increase their paperwork. Now, just let me digress for a second. I have to type. My daughter just landed back in Ohio, So I want to tell her I'm glad to hear that she landed. Well, I appreciate your contacting us and typing in the chat room. Uh, See, that's the one great thing about our country. You and I can differ and talk about these things, and it doesn't take a military coup. Okay, this is what's so great about our country, and that is that every 4 years we get to nominate and elect the President of the United States. Okay, we learn to live with our choices for 4 years. There's not going to be any kind of an overthrow in the government. Uh, we have our three branches: the judicial, okay, the executive, and you have Congress, and we have checks and balances. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the best system around. This is the greatest country in the world, and I will say that till my dying day.
Sorry about the delay there. All right. We really appreciate you chatting with us. Unfortunately, we apologize that we got you so late. We were not.
I'm glad he stuck around because I noticed at the beginning, he happened to say, and I could understand. He said, "You guys don't read your chat room," and he was right. We totally didn't see that, but that's usually Felix's job.
Yeah, and I didn't have my glasses, believe it or not, and I wasn't paying attention. I apologize for that. Now, biker Talon. Okay. What do you like to be called? Biker? Ask you, what state do you live in? Wyoming? Is that what you said?
Wyoming, that's Dick Cheney country.
I don't know.
Well, he typed in WYO, which would be Wyoming, unless
But he typed that before I asked him what state.
well, it could be that it stands for something like FYI for your information. But if he's from Wyoming, that's I believe that's Dick Cheney country.
WY.
Hmm?
WY.
Wyoming.
Yeah. Problem is, different states, Obamacare didn't take the exchange. States didn't get the exchange. I think they got the raw deal of things.
Well, unfortunately, I know what you're saying. You see, unfortunately, states with a Republican governor, many of them were reluctant to avail themselves of the extra monies. The government was supposed to help you out at the beginning of Obamacare for a few years, and then the states were supposed to absorb that cost.
And I guess a lot of states didn't want
And a
to.
lot of because they didn't want to give anything to Obama. Okay, and that's the sad part about the fact that the people are not willing to work together. I mean, who gets hurt? The American people get hurt.
He just wrote that $15 an hour would kill my town. I agree with you. Certain areas of the country, $15 might be too much to pay for people because of
Well,
the cost of living there.
I remember when I was graduating college and I had a chance to get a government job, and that was when President Nixon slapped his freeze on government hiring. When I took the civil service exam, I was in the upper 1% of the people who took the exam. And I was going to be interviewed for a high paying internship, which eventually would have led to a Washington post in the government for the Customs Administration.